Okay, now what?
Go back later.
Meeting settings.
Mute upon entry.
Okay, turn that on. Okay, so that's gonna mute everybody else, right? Okay, play join and leave sound. Is that what? Is that all you want to do?
Sound and then mute the phone.
Oh. Oh, that button right there.
As a courtesy, we ask that you please silence or turn off all phones and electronic devices and ensure you are on mute on Zoom for the duration of the ceremony. Thank you.
So everybody who is on Zoom, can you guys hear that speaker?
Yes.
Okay. Should it be any louder? You guys hear it okay?
Good.
I would suggest if you're not there to turn off your video. Otherwise, your video keeps popping up instead of the retirement.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Senior Airman Diego Molina Loyola, your narrator for this event. On behalf of Major Catherine Ahadi, Commander of the 452nd Communications Squadron, and presiding official for today's ceremony, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this very special occasion. During today's ceremony, you'll be given cues to stand and be seated at appropriate times. As a reminder, military members in uniform remain at attention, and all others place their right hand over their heart during the national anthem. Today, you will witness the time-honored military tradition of retirement ceremony. We are here to recognize and honor the distinguished career of Technical Sergeant Brett Jones, who has faithfully and honorably served his country in the United States Air Force for 17 years. Before we proceed any further, I am pleased to recognize some very special guests joining us today. Please hold your applause until all guests have been introduced. You beginning with Technical Sergeant Jones, husband Juan Jones, and son Edgar Jones. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Among our distinguished guests in attendance, we are also pleased to welcome those who are with us over Zoom. We also welcome all commanders, chiefs, family members, special friends, and members of the 452nd Communications Squadron. Thank you for sharing in this special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, we invite the Commander, 452nd Communications Squadron Major Captain Ahadi, to say a few words.
Welcome. I am so grateful that we can have so many people here today, and I know we have even more folks on Zoom. I'm grateful that Sergeant Jones has this beautiful backyard that we're able to spread out in and be safe in these COVID times, and that we're able to overcome a lot of challenges and making this happen. I'm very grateful for everyone to make it here today and to honor this joyous occasion of Sergeant Jones' retirement. Sergeant Jones, I would like to thank you for your 17 years of service. You're a valuable asset to the unit, and you clearly care about the welfare of others and our mission. Your smile is infectious. Your optimism is obvious to anyone who has met you, regardless of whether or not you're going through something. But who is Texar? I want to share a few things about him that you may or may not know. He was raised in Lancaster, Ohio. The military traditions and honor ran strong in his family, across the armed services as well. His father and uncle served in the Army. His grandfather was in the Navy, and his older brother is currently serving in the Navy. But even beyond those influences, he was raised with discipline from the beginning. There's a story of when he and his cousin Candace had picked and stolen corn from a farmer across the street. They filled the refrigerator with feeder corn, and when his mom found out, she made them take it all back, and of course paid for it. There's another story of when he was playing baseball as a catcher, and the batter actually hit him on the head during their swing. There's a bloody mess that he probably But later that day, his mom made him silver and paper out. This kind of responsibility and resiliency set the foundation for him to be able to shake off and overcome any pursuit setbacks. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, thank you for your contribution to raising up and for giving him the tools that he needs to be successful in today's market. Sergeant Jones may have joined for education benefits, but he stayed because he loved the Air Force and he loved to serve. I can certainly appreciate that. He spent a few years in the Air National Guard, which brought him to the IT help desk operations. And during Operation Jumpstart, he was able to do a tour with the Custom Border Patrol near here on the border, where over 200 folks were watching cameras and doing field work. Again, protecting our country and being here to serve. We'll go into more detail with his declaration about some of his times in the communication squadron. But as a knowledge manager, he has definitely helped pave the way when it comes to making sure that folks are prepared with their Privacy Act training, spreading the word on all of the fun, mandatory things that make up the military. And that's no small feat, getting people excited to do things that may or may not feel as operational. It's so important. It's so part of who we are as airmen and how we are qualified to do what we do. Being good stewards and taking accountability across all aspects of our career. John, Edgar, I want to thank you for lending us your husband and your father. And I'm sure you're very excited to have me back. And Edgar, happy belated birthday. You just turned 12 last month. Congratulations. Is this a nice birthday present for you? Excellent. Well, I can't tell how much we appreciate, I can't tell you how much we appreciate having with us for these years. It's meant a lot to us, participation. So we thank you for that and for your service. And Jones, you have all my best wishes with this next chapter of your life. I know you will do great things. So you'll appreciate having time back, but I know that you will still find a way to serve, regardless of whether or not you learn. That's an important piece of your character, that it doesn't matter if you're on duty or not. That is who you are and you are. And thanks again to everyone who is here to celebrate with us today.
Thank you, Major High for your thoughtful words. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the medal presentation to the retired and served.
Publish the orders.
To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 16 January 1969, has awarded the Air Force Commendation Medal to Technical Sergeant Brett M. Jones, 12 February 2017, 20 November 2020. Technical Sergeant Brett M. Jones distinguished himself by meritorious service while assigned to the 452nd Communications Squadron, 452nd Mission Support Group, 452nd Air Mobility Wing, March Air Reserve Base, California. During this period, Sergeant Jones' expertise in records management led to the transition of paper files to electronic file plans containing records, integrity, and metrics reported to the Department of Defense. Additionally, he corrected participation discrepancies in the unit training assembly processing system, ensuring correct pay for more than 50 members and balancing room financial records. Furthermore, he assisted in the mailroom and knowledge operations office unit, moving $150,000 in equipment and ensuring zero operational downtime. Finally, Sergeant Jones showcased his skills in protecting personal privacy and national security by training members on the importance of personal identifiable information protection, which led to the revitalization of the Basic Privacy Act training program. The distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant Jones culminate a distinguished career in service of his country and reflect credit of himself and the United States Force. Given under Ladies and gentlemen, Major Ahadi will now officially retire Technical Sergeant Brett Jones.
What was the order?
Department of the Air Force, Washington, D.C., Brett M. Jones was relieved from duty from the Air Force Reserve, 42nd Communications Squadron, March Air Reserve Base, California, and retired effective 1 December 2020, per Air Force Instructions 36-3203, in the rank of Technical Sergeant by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Certificate of Retirement. From the Armed Forces of the United States of America to all who shall see these present greetings. This is to certify that Technical Sergeant Brett N. Jones, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of December of the year 2020. Chief of Air Force Reserve, Richard W. Scobie, Lieutenant General, United States Air Force, and Chief of Staff, Charles Q. Brown, Jr., General, United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Major Ahadi will now present to Technical Sergeant Jones with a certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States of America. For the service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America, Technical Sergeant Brett M. Jones, I extend to you my proposal, personal thanks, and sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice, in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. I trust that in the coming years, you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you serve. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for happiness and success. The future signed, Donald J. Trump, Commander-in-Chief. At This time we invite Juan to come forward for some special presentation. The United States Air Force Retirement Lapel Pin is appreciatively authorized to Technical Sergeant Brandon Jones, having distinguished himself by honorable service from 24 November 2003 to 1 December 2020. The emblem will be worn as a badge of honor, indicative of honorable and faithful service while a career member of the United States Air Force. We will now recognize Juan for his personal contributions. Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Air Force. In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition, Juan C. Jones. For the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense, thank you for your support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Given this first day of December of the year 2020, Second Chief of Air Force Reserve Richard W. Scobie, Lieutenant General United States Air Force, and Chief of Staff Charles Q. Brown Jr., General United States Air Force. It is traditional to present the spouse with a token of appreciation. Juan, please accept this squadron mug on behalf of the men and women of the 452nd Communications Squadron. Technical Sergeant Jones would like to present Juan with the Air Force cufflinks and Air Force hoodie.
Give me this sweatshirt, Air Force, because you only have Navy. So now you have an Air Force.
Technical Sergeant Jones would like to present his son Edgar and his mother, Mrs. Jones, a token of appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Technical Sergeant Brandon Jones, United States Air Force retired.
Thank you, guys. Wow. Thank you guys, everyone, for coming. This is amazing. I first want to thank Major Hadi for coming down here all the way from LA to do this. I know it changed several times. It changed from the midway. Well, first it was supposed to be on base, and then the midway, and then here. And I'm glad everyone's here to witness this as well. Sergeant Hadi, thank you so much for this. You did this. Thank you. To the men and women of the 452nd, again, thank you for driving all the way from LA or Corona or wherever you guys are from. I can't remember. Actually, you're not with us anymore, but thank you for coming down. Really appreciate it. And everyone else is here. Thank you so much. During these times, it's crazy, and some people are really scared to come out, and I'm glad we're socially distancing and we're safe. Wow, so it's been a great and wonderful ride in the Air Force. I first started, as Major Hadi said, I joined for educational reasons. My mother is one to believe that I always have to pay for what I want. So I wanted an education. I wanted to prove myself and my family that I can go above and beyond for myself and later on for my family. I joined the Air Force, one, because we're smarter. Two, I didn't want to join active duty, and one of the main reasons was because I wanted to live in a beautiful place, and not all Air Forces are beautiful places. So I'm just going to go a little about my career in the Air Force. I know Major Hadi mentioned a little bit of it. So I first enlisted at Rickenbacker Air Force Base in Ohio in 2003. I didn't go to basic until February 2004, obviously. And then I went to Lackman. The funny thing is, I actually got recycled in boot camp. Guess what for? For being a smartass. Imagine that, right? But after basic, I went to Keesler for a month for EP. A couple of you guys did EP. Mine was a little different then, so I had actually do it twice. And then we went to, everyone in my, whatever, went to Shepherd Air Force Base, which is basically the armpit of the Air Force. It's horrible base. I mean, it's a great base. And believe it or not, I got placed on lockdown there.
Yes.
This time it wasn't for being a smartass. I actually was doing the right thing, and I went to PT, but my friends didn't want to go to PT, so they stayed in my room. And they did a room inspection. Guess who got in trouble and who didn't? Me.
Get your friends.
Right? So while I was in Shepherd for 6+ months, I believe. And during that time, I knew I wanted to move to California. So I was actually starting to reach out to the 163rd. I actually talked to a Chief Jones, the 163rd. And I'm like, hey, when I get back, I want to, transfer. And then the Guard, it's actually a little different because you have to, the Guard pays for basic and everything. Unlike the reserves, it's federally, so you're going to be a little, people not very happy. But at the same time, there was a guy trying to come from my unit to that unit. He wanted educational benefits with Ohio. He could have got Ohio State for free. Anyway, so we made the switch. While I was in the 163rd, I did a couple things. I was actually in the Guard 163rd the longest. One of the first things I did was Hurricane Katrina review. I flew to Louisiana for 2 weeks to help all the refugees or whatever out of Louisiana and ship them elsewhere in the country. And we actually had it loaded. At one point, we had our N16s loaded, ready to rock and roll. Which is funny, the active duty came in and they weren't allowed having loaded weapons with emotional law and all that. After Katrina, I actually went to Insular Turkey for a month. Funny story there. I almost got arrested.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions. Around 2007, my unit, the 163rd, we actually got bracked. I don't know if you guys know what that means, but basically they took all our airplanes away and they were shutting down our mission. We had no mission. So I'm not even kidding you. There was 2 years maybe that I did nothing. We went there. Like, dude, won't you watch this car? Hey, won't you do this? I ended up like hanging out at the BX, playing Guitar Hero, or hiding. we finally got a mission, and it was the MQ-1, the Predator mission. And I was one of the last people to take that mission because I did not want to work on that one. There's no deployments, there's no one to find the damn thing. So I didn't want to do it. So some civilian stuff came up, and I actually lost my job because it was part of the recession or whatever. So I chose to go to the school, and it was actually in Vegas. And that's why I hate Vegas. I don't gamble. So I just stayed in my room for a month. Unless he can took me out on the phone. Let's see here. So, okay, so this was kind of like almost turning point in the Air Force. It was December 2010. You guys know what happened in December 2010? President Obama repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I almost got out of the Air Force because I couldn't live my life. And every time I went to drill, I was getting headaches. And I was just stressing out to lie to people, saying that, I was straight and I had girlfriends. And obviously, we know that's not true. So it was at that point that my enlistment was up, and I knew that the repel was coming up. So I held out strong, and we're here now. And yes, thank you, Obama. Then I came to the 452nd Communications Squadron. Oh yeah. When I came to the squadron, who were we led by, Jackson? Okay. Your fearless mother. She's the leader. So actually, so I was only there for a couple months, and then Juan got promoted at work, and they moved us to Maryland, Bethesda, Maryland. He got promoted. So I transferred. The good thing about the reserves, you can transfer to any base. So I ended up transferring to Andrews Air Force Base, and I went back to my old job. I wasn't with the communications squadron anymore. I was now working on an airplane. And one, I didn't like Maryland. Two, I didn't like working on an airplane. Finally, I go to one. I'm like, honey, can't do Maryland anymore. I'm leaving. So I left, and the 452nd Comm Squadron actually let me come back into the unit. But they're like, you have to go to school within a year. Okay. So while I was waiting for school, they were actually going on a deployment to Germany. That was it. That was fun, drinking beer in the local pubs or whatever, traveling and staying in a hostel in Amsterdam, renting bikes and visiting the red light district. Never mind, you got a Sharpie I can borrow? Then I think it was like 2 years later, we decided to do our AT in Hawaii. That was awesome. Until we have a great time until someone lost their dog. But hey, the waterfall was amazing, even though Marquez was on the phone the entire time. No, right. I showed it already, and she didn't say 3 words, but she was always on the phone. One of my most proudest moments in the Air Force, meeting most of you guys in PT.
Oh, first time.
You guys just thought I was a fat, dumb, and ugly guy. No, I could beat you guys in that run. 90s for like years.
How long did it take you?
Hey, 90s, that's all that. So I've done the math, and I actually calculated I've done over 250 round trip from here to March Air Force Base. I just thought that was a fun statistical thing. 250 trips, at least 250. And here we are now, working with COVID, doing celebrations, looking through this. We've been remote since February, March. Which is crazy. I mean, how do you do military stuff here? Remote, I don't know, whatever. then here I am today, retiring early, and some of you guys are probably wondering, why the hell does he not have 20 years under his belt? Well, I have medical issues, stomach issues, so they actually are allowing me to retire early with full benefits. So that's great. I couldn't be here today without all you guys here. All of you guys here are part of my life, either military-wise, or helping Edgar, or helping Juan out with Edgar when I'm deployed or off of AT, drinking in the red light district in Amsterdam.
Israel.
But thank you guys all for coming. You guys, seriously, you guys wouldn't have been invited if you were not part of my military career. I really appreciate it. You guys really supported me and my family during that time. Juan and Edgar, I love you guys so much. Juan, you're my rock. You always, when I was leaving and I had this in my ear, like, I'll just make it work. Make it work. Right? I just don't ask questions. He's always made it work. Edgar, thank you for always supporting me. I think a couple times you wanted to jump in my suitcase when I was going. You wanted to leave. But let's get real. They're not happy I'm home every weekend. To my fellow airmen, soldiers, and sailors, thank you for your service. Remember, for you that have not retired yet, that you're probably going to be standing here someday. Well, maybe not here. A charge up this. And remember when you're standing here that you're going to be transferring your torch to your subordinates. And you want to feel confident that you're doing that. I can proudly say that I feel like I am handing the torch to my fellow airmen, and I can leave my post without hesitation or fear. Thank you, guys. God bless America.
Staff Sergeant Pratt will now present the campus.
I just want to say on behalf of the knowledge management section, Sergeant Hodgman, the rest of the airmen in the section, I appreciate it. Personally as well. I honestly consider it we've lost a lot of people there.
Thank you, Staff Sergeant Pratt. Juan will now present the Technical Sergeant Jones with a shadow box displaying the United States flag, coins, dog tag, the ranks and medals of Technical Sergeant Jones has been awarded throughout his career. Thank you, Juan. On behalf of the men and women of the 452nd Communication Squadron, Major Hardy would like to present you this plaque and hiking stick.
And this reads, Technical Sergeant Brett M. Jones, 12 February 2014 to 1 December 2020. Thank you for your outstanding service and dedication to serving in the 452nd Communication Squadron. Retirement is not the end of the road. It is the beginning of the open highway. March Service Base, California. It's a hiking stick on your journey. So it reads, Technical Sergeant Brett M. Jones, 452nd Communication Squadron.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the official part of our ceremony. Please remain seated. We will now conduct a flag holding ceremony performed by Staff Sergeant Prats and Staff Sergeant Marquez. For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor. White signifies purity and innocence. And blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally, a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's port machinery that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on the constellation of the Air Force satellites that circle our globe, and on the faint flash of our aircraft from the arm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every airman who serves our great nation. The sun never sets on our United States Air Force, nor on the flag we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others want for us, for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive pose, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom, at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on the land and skies around the world. It is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we as Americans enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share and the pride and the patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy and revere it as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it wave. Technical Sergeant Jones, on behalf of the United States Air Force and the 452nd Communications Squadron, please accept this flag and appreciation for your 17 years of service. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party. The words are located in your program. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Please join us for a reception immediately following. Thank you for attending physically or virtually, and have a great day.
There is cake.
Israel. Where's Mikey? You inside?
Whatever. Okay, we're just gonna be sitting here. What you think? Air Force babies. What's your specialty? We birthed the Space Force.
You make that up? You're standing there.
We have tables.
No,
We have now
But
forever.
still, I told her, still like something. Make it through. Why?
My dad was that hard on over there, I go, did you take one? No. Dad, let's talk to him. Tell me you were kidding.
Well, they do watch ceremonies. Not everyone here thinks you're important. Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm
Where's it going? Under this thing?
It's a total of. Yes.
All right, so who wants to get
You're the one. Hey, you're the retired. Your job.
That means I'm retired.
Look happy.
I see guys.
Look, you got an adorned public. backstage. Yeah, they're all right. He's first. Sure, why not? I'll try it, sure. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. You got it?
Yeah. Yeah. Great job today, so.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.